Good afternoon, Aditi. It's a pleasure to welcome you here today during our UKESG July 2023 tour with students from Manav Rachna International Schools, Ludhiana and Mohali. And we're really delighted as UKESG's global brand ambassador for you to take the time and engage and share some valuable learning tips about your journey and how you got to where you are today, because you're a national hero and we're all very proud of all the work you're doing, and in particular, the work that you do with your She Kicks Football Academy and the Aditi Chauhan Foundation. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakbir. Pleasure to be here and glad. Always a pleasure to share my experience, and if I could help even a few students, I'm always happy with that and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Aditi. So I think what would be really important, because these children are kind of from the ages of 10 to 17, all kind of in different stages of their learning, of their development, and they all have a very keen interest in sports. So could you share some of your background in the sense where, how have you got to where you are today?
I think, learning about the program and the sports tour that's happening, I think it's extremely good. And something that from my experience, from my journey, what I've learned is the exposure that I got when I traveled to UK to study sports management. I think that really was a pivotal moment in my life. The exposure that I got in terms of not just the cultural experience, the cultural exposure, but also experiencing what life is outside India. A lot of the times, the society or the culture that we grow up in India, we get very comfortable because our families are very close to us. We grow up in a very comfortable environment, and getting that kind of exposure puts you out of your comfort zone, and that's where the real growth happens. And I feel that, like I said, the experience there, the exposure, the time that I spent while studying and then playing for West Ham was really the core reason why I've been able to progress and be where I am today. Talking about the journey, I was always into sports, grew up playing multiple sports. I think that was also a very important experience that I had. And, there are things that you pick up while playing different sports that you don't realize. And after a point when I decided to pursue my career in football, I think those little elements really helped me in my goalkeeping skills, because I had a background in basketball, so your hand-eye coordination, your physical. I did karate. I've got a black belt in karate, so physical strength was there. And these little things, I've done a little bit of athletics as well. So these little things came in really handy, and really, I think that is what really set me apart from the other, other of my other competitors of mine in that position. So I think that was the point of difference for me. But the other thing that I also realized that was it was very important after a point to actually pursue. If I really wanted to have a career in sports, it was important to pursue one sport and really focus on that. And for that to happen, you have to prioritize in life. I think that is extremely important, and that is what I want to share with the students who are listening to me here. While growing up, you always have different expectations. You want to spend time with your friends, you want to go out, hang out with them, but also play a little bit. But then that is the reason why people say that you have to, you can't do studies and sports together. I think it's a wrong notion, and something that I don't believe in, because I felt I did that all my life. But yes, I had to prioritize. For me, while growing up in school, my priority was sports and studies. I had to forgo a lot of my social time and social interactions, spending time with friends and going for movies, going to hang out with my friends was something that I missed on. But I think that was a choice that I made. I'm very proud that I could make that decision at a young age, because it's not easy to understand these things. When you're young, you feel like, you don't have enough time. How do I pursue my studies? How do I maintain my studies along with playing sports? And from my own example, I can say that's very much possible. It's all about where you focus, what are your priorities, and what are your ambitions in life. If you want to be average playing sports, go ahead, divide your time in multiple things. But if you really want to excel, then you have to prioritize and focus on things.
Wow, that's some real detailed insights and advice for our young students who are here with us today. And some of them are extremely talented, and they have a vision to do more within their respective sports fields. Some of them are district level shooters, and some of them are fantastic at archery, some real special skills in football, cricket. So this multi-sports tour with UK Elite Sports Group is really kind of for varied talent. And I think what's really important is, which something that you touched upon, is by coming to the UK and having that opportunity, you become a global citizen. You're embracing new cultures. And so how did you find your first time when you came to the UK?
And it was a cultural shock, I'll be honest. Like I said, you are so comfortable in your family, in your home. And then when you have to travel abroad, where you have no one, no close family or friend around, you have to basically live and do everything on your own, figure out everything on your own. So, but that's really helpful. I think, that is something that helps you grow many folds. You start to think beyond, beyond studies or beyond the books. Because there's so many things that you want to figure out. And the best thing about UK that I felt was that there were opportunities for you to get involved in so many multiple things, beyond sports and beyond studies. I felt that also was a huge experience and learning for me. While I was studying at the university, I enrolled myself in various unions and Hindu group. There were multiple other groups as well, Indian group, society, different cultural societies, which gives you exposure to different things. And while growing up at between the age of 10 to 17, like you mentioned, that is a very young age where you don't really know where your interest really lies. And having that exposure to different things gives you that little bit of experience of different things, where later on in your life, it will help you realize what you're really passionate about, where your interest really lies. And that can be a huge factor in your life when you decide to do whatever you want to pursue as your career. Again, for me, sports was something that I was really passionate about. It came naturally. Of course, I was playing, but also I realized that, even after I stopped playing, I would rather have a career in sports, develop sports in India, than do a 9-to-5 job or work for any other company. I realized, and I could figure out where my passion really lies. And of course, it takes a lot of courage to pursue it. It's not easy, but maybe that's the playing football competitively brings that self-belief in you, brings that courage out of you, to face anything, any challenges come your way. The only way is to keep progressing and have that self-belief that you can overcome and continue pursuing it. So there were multiple factors, but I felt sports combined with the international exposure and the education along with it has really helped me and put me in a very unique spot that I am in today.
Wonderful. That's so good to hear. And I think you're absolutely right from the education perspective. And we were very privileged and delighted to take the children only yesterday. In the morning, they had their presentation ceremony at the Southampton City Council's Lord Mayor's Parlour, where the Lord Mayor presented the children. She engaged with them and kind of communicated her experience of what the emphasis of a Lord Mayor is here in the UK. And the children spoke to her about their experience, about how India works, how Punjab works from a leadership perspective. Then afterwards, we were privileged to take them to Southampton Solent University, who are UKESG's education partner. And we were very privileged to meet with Dominic Cunliffe, who is the head of sports and health at the university, who took the children on a guest tour through the sports complex, the physiotherapy suites, and we had a guest lecture about the values of education in today's world and how that integrates with sports. And we know through our work with a number of organizations in India and education institutions where sports management is very popular now, because as well as doing any type of learning degree, you can always attach sports to it, because it's very explosive in India and around the world. So the fact that years ago you did that, I suppose you were quite ahead of the curve to embrace that. And I think in today's world, children are also embracing adding the education factor to sports.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I was listening, it reminded me that these kind of experiences, this kind of exposure is so vital, because you already have a certain kind of experience and know-how of how things operate in India. And when you get that exposure of how a developed country like UK operates, the different things, the professionalism there, the facilities there, you really identify the gap and what is UK doing differently, or what's better in England. And that's something that helped me, having that exposure of playing for West Ham, studying at Loughborough. It helped me identify where in women's football India is lacking, or what is the gap that I, in my personal capacity, can fill that gap. And that is how She Kicks came into being, because I realized that there was lack of women-centric academies, there was lack of women-centric football training and elite level training, and I could bridge that gap through the exposure that I had there. And so listening to you, it reminds me of all the experience, and I feel this can be a huge value add to all the students who are getting to experience this.
Thank you so much, Aditi. And I think that's why we have shared values with yourself and our organization. And we've created this partnership to offer those support for a whole host of different people from India and the UK to try and embrace the cultural changes, sports and education to become better leaders in the world of tomorrow. I'd kind of like to finally really touch upon some of your achievements. I mean, you're an outstanding credit ambassador for our dear nation of India. You're championing women into sport. You're providing education for parents. You're working with perhaps those individuals who don't have the privileges, the means. And I think the work you're doing and your foundation is absolutely wonderful. And it's really soul and heart touching for us at UKESG to be partnering, associating with you and your foundation. And we're really looking forward to exciting times ahead. But it'd be good if you could just tell us a bit about, for the students, your achievements. And I'm sure you don't like boasting, but we'd love to know.
Yes, I've been playing for the Indian national team for the past 15 years. I started my career for the national team from under 19. I was only 16 when I played for under 19 India, and it was a big experience. I remember, I think the second match, and as a 16-year-old kid, was against Australia, which was an experience that both mentally and physically it was a huge challenge, but helped me grow a lot. Of course, through football, I've traveled across India, have made great friends. But that's how the journey started. I am the current senior national team player. I was also the first women footballer to play for an English Premier League club. I played for West Ham United FC ladies for 2 seasons after completing my MSc Sports Management. And then I've obviously with the national team, I've won CEF Championship multiple times, South Asian Games multiple times, participated in Asian Games in 2014. We've played Olympic qualifiers, World Cup qualifiers with Gokulam Kerala. I've won Indian Women's League twice, last time as the captain. So these are, I think I've covered all of my
Wonderful.
achievements as a player. But hopefully, I'm currently going through an injury, but I hope to make a comeback and continue playing for the national team for a couple of more years if everything goes well. And hopefully retire on my terms and not be dictated by an injury or any other outside factor.
Wow, that's wonderful to kind of hear you articulate your achievements, and those millions and millions of young girls and boys in India who have aspirations. You're a real great ambassador, and I think I'd even like to extend that whilst you had your unfortunate injury, and through your recovery, you still did lots of media support, interviews at matches. You shared lots of insights, your views, that you're really valued with a number of kind of media outlets. So it's I think what sports brings is a whole number of opportunities, and I think more so you're representing your nation, and we're quite privileged that the UK and India now are working very collectively together. We have the 2030 roadmap, the free trade agreement, and it's the ties are building stronger, and I think it's our duty to kind of be the bridge and kind of work relentlessly as we are here at UKESG in strengthening UK-India sports and educational ties. Aditi, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm sure the children are very grateful to hear your insights, and we look forward to doing more of these interviews with future groups from India and groups from UK to India, which we're working on for this year.
Perfect.
Aditi, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.